Yeah, and it's a lot, but people can just start with simply supporting the natural environment, and it's simple, but people, they have to be educated first because they don't know how to do that. Like in New Zealand, you said you can just live in the bush, it's nice. But then again, you might be eating an animal or a plant or something that's got 1080 in it, drinking the water that's absorbed the 1080. But you can live off the land, you can buy cheap land up north or wherever you can get land cheap, and you can grow your own food and you can be self-sufficient, and people can get together and do this. They can figure it out, but for right now they don't even really see the possibility because they're not educated about that. They're educated to rely on a system that's destroying the natural environment. And yeah, it's really pretty sad how things are, but yeah, that's where we come in, and we have the real guidance and real education beyond just the earth. But yeah, while we're here, it makes sense, of course, to support what supports you, and it's so nice to just be out there with growing food. It's so natural, and picking a fruit off a tree or something. It's so nice. It's so real. It's like a gift. The tree is giving it to you, and the sun is like giving the energy to that fruit, and there's all this like cool stuff going on under the ground to give the nutrients to the trees with the fungi and the microorganisms and things. And it's really cool how the natural environment is. And yeah, but people, they don't know because they're so focused on surviving within a system that wants them to struggle on surviving, so that they're reliant on the system, so that they don't have the time or the idea of trying to figure out a better way. But some people have figured it out, how to live off the land with permaculture and biodynamic gardening and these things. But these people, they still need a real education too about their 5 bodies and what creation is, because you can live a happy, healthy, simple lifestyle here, but it's just a passing dream, and it'll be gone, and then they'll be somewhere in the astral realm, and they won't know what to do with themselves. So yeah, it's a lot you got to get through. We've got to get through to as many people as we can, and everybody is looking for what we're doing in terms of their real awareness. But for a lot of people, that's too much. It's too much for now. But we give everybody the opportunity, and so we're creatively doing that as best we can. And yeah, it's like you just mentioned, Olga. New Zealand is like it's like a little test tube for a lot of things, because it's a developed country, but it's very small, so they can test things there. And it's like they're like little puppets. The New Zealand government, New Zealand mind controllers. That's what government means. It means control mind. And so yeah, they do it with lots of things like technologies like FPAS and just like all sorts of things. I didn't know about the school system, but there's a lot of different stuff they test in New Zealand. And then yeah, maybe most of it, it's like, oh yeah, everybody agreed to this, let's do it everywhere. And so they just agree to whatever the other countries, like they call them like the Big Six or something. It's like New Zealand, Australia, America, the USA, Canada, England, and well, that's 5, and maybe one other. I don't know. Just these governments, they're just like in cahoots with the Queen, and whatever, they produce the most waste, and they waste the most food and all this stuff. And yeah, people in New Zealand, they're just kind of in a little bubble, a lot of them. But, I see that some of them are starting to wake up. I see on Facebook, some of them are paying attention more so to what's taking place. The real side of what's taking place, which is the government is trying to kill people and split families apart and just create havoc. And they're doing it pretty fast. And yeah, like I said, it's pretty sad, but it'll be cool as we keep doing these calls. We can maybe creatively get more people to listen to them because, yeah, we're here to help people and show them what makes sense. And it's really cool when people do see it and step up, because as we all support each other, we all get more support. And with more support, we can do more and we can see more and we can be more, and just gets more real. So yeah, it's like Eric just turned up here, Huntington Beach, and so there's one more of us, and it's like more real and more support, and it's really cool. So, and just like getting together on this Skype and sharing and supporting each other to become more aware. And yeah, because we all have different experiences, but we can see through them and objectively view what really happened and become more aware from the experience. So yeah, and I saw Oranga Tamariki means children wellness. So yeah, that's a big lie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in New Zealand, they what do they call them? Like the National Party people, the left wing or right wing, I forget which is which, but the conservative people, they're very like outspoken about how, I mean, Australia is the same in a lot of countries, but it's very strong in New Zealand where they're so outspoken against people on the welfare benefit, like they're so lazy and whatever, they should be taking our taxpayers' money, but these people don't realize that all money is created out of nothing. And it's just, if anybody knows anything about the Federal Reserve, all money is created out of nothing. It's just numbers on a screen somewhere, not on a screen, but on a, somewhere, they're just numbers on a computer. It's not real. They just create it out of nothing. And the government creates this idea of scarcity and like, oh, you have to pay your taxes, but you only pay taxes so that, the government takes your money so that you don't have as much money. It has nothing to do with needing taxes to, to do these things like provide for people so that they can look after their children, And so, yeah, realistically, people can all be supported financially through a system where the money is created out of nothing, except they can be supported to do projects that support the natural environment. And of course, mothers, they just need to be with their children. That child wants the mother. They shouldn't have to go and work. What is it, like 4 weeks after you have the child? You get 4 weeks or 6 weeks off work to go and, look after your child, and then all of a sudden you got to go back to work. That's the idea in New Zealand, and that's not natural. And there can be communities and real focuses for people. So yeah, did you want to say something, Olga?
Yeah, I was just agreeing with you. It's horrific, I mean, what becomes of that mother? Because I understand exactly how the system works. That's why I came back to Australia. It's horrific over there, and that's not the New Zealand I grew up in, And they take the child, so she falls into a depression. Well, what's supposed to come of her, And if she was on a single parent pension, I don't know if she was, but I'd say pretty much she was, because SIFs were there. I mean, Oranga Tamariki was there. So that gets taken off her immediately. So she's got absolutely no income, no way of surviving. So she'll get kicked out of her home because she won't pay her rent. just give it within a month. And she's in a state of depression because she's lost her baby. And then she's supposed to go out and work. So because she lost her baby, the government will stand her down for 13 weeks. So this is how people are ending up on the streets over there. It's horrific. Mm.
Yeah, it's like evil. It really is. And then the people, they're just agreeing to it. The police, the Oranga Tamariki people, they're just agreeing to it. It's like the 1080 people, they're just agreeing. You know, if everybody stopped going to work and went on strike because they're dropping 1080 or because they're taking children from people's parents, you know, the country's going to shut down. The government's, you know, they're not going to get the agreement of people to keep, you know, working these jobs for them and supporting the government. And so there'll be like a shutdown. The people really have to wake up and see that they are the majority and that, you know, the governments, the controlling the governments, the authoritarians, they actually need the agreement of the people. You know?
Mm. And I relate that back to when I was a child. I remember they tried to bring in TV licensing. Like every home who had a TV had to pay like $50 a year or something. Well, in those days, neighbours used to talk to each other, you know, and I remember the neighbours banging on the door, "Are you going to pay this TV licence?" And I remember my father going, "Oh, we're not going to pay that." And so they'd go over to the other neighbours, and the whole neighbourhood would just, no way, they wouldn't pay it. So the government couldn't enforce it. But now people don't talk to their neighbours. They're embarrassed and they want to show a front of, I'm doing really well. I'm keeping up with the Joneses and things like this. But I remember when when I was a kid, that's how the neighbourhoods used to work. If they didn't like something, they would just all refuse to do it, and the government couldn't enforce them. So, and that's exactly what we need to do again. Probably start talking to our neighbours, which seems scary these days.
Yeah, people, they've become so afraid. Yeah, and that's what the governments want, and they've also been so divided. You know, it's like everybody's like so different now. It's like, yeah, I remember like when I was very young, we knew all my neighbors, and this is just, I'm only 23 years old, so it's not long ago. And then, you know, as I got older, we moved houses. You know, when I was like 9, we knew our neighbors at that house, and then you move again, and you kind of know the neighbors less and less, or you might know them, but you don't really talk to them. And yeah, because people, they become so different because that's how they want it to be. There's so many different things for people to focus on and them to identify with. But really, we're all free beings of real light, and we're all here to become more aware of what we really are. It's pretty simple, and yeah, we can have, we can enjoy different things like different types of art or different kinds of adventures and whatever it is. But really, as you become more aware, I watch Dwayne and myself and, other people that I know, like, we can talk to just about anyone because you can relate to that individual according to where they're at, and you can learn from them and their experiences as a comparative view to what you've experienced. So yeah, we're fine with everybody and everyone. Everybody's experiences are valid, and everybody's a wonderful pure being of real light, whether they recognize it a little bit, a lot, or not at all. So yeah, it's this whole divide and conquer thing that governments have been doing all around the world. I definitely see it here in America, where there's loud, obnoxious people around, and then there's quiet, kind of keep to themselves people, and yeah, there's just this huge divide of people identifying with this and that. Yeah, it's a lot for people to go through, and with the new you can get through yourself and all these ideas you've agreed to really quickly. You can just ask to see your tap lines, and when you see where your tap lines are, with your restricting agreements, and then you can see like, oh wow, and you'll see them. The guides will show you, whether it's on the real side in your dreams or here in the physical. And when you stop paying attention, it's like really obvious what you're agreeing to that's holding you back. It's always right there. And then you can become more aware really fast, and then you just keep becoming more aware, and life gets better. The comparison of how restricting things are here gets bigger, but life gets better as you recognize more of what it is, because life is already everything. It's all life itself. The isness life is always on. It's always new now. It's always pure and sincere and perfect. But creation here, especially in this physical realm, everything's distorted and there's positive and negative. But when you see that isness that supports all life, it's really cool. Like Eric and I today, we were at a park and we were just watching the leaves on the trees and the wind. So cool. So cool. Yeah.